There's a kind of power that doesn't come from shouting, proving, or chasing. It comes from silence. It comes from acting as if he was nothing, because the moment you stop feeding someone your energy, you starve their ego. You don't need to teach him a lesson. You don't need to orchestrate his regret. That's not your responsibility. That's karma's, and karma works best when you've already moved on, when you're living your life so fully that his absence barely registers. Because while you're busy thriving, karma is busy reminding him of what he lost. That's the beauty of letting go. Your freedom becomes his punishment. When you act like he was nothing, you take back the very power that kept you tied to him in the first place. Detachment is not about pretending you never felt something, and it's not about denying your emotions. It's about refusing to give him ongoing access to your energy. When someone has hurt you, dismissed you, or failed to see your worth, the instinct can often be to fight for recognition, to show them what they lost, or to try to force them to understand. But every time you do that, you feed their ego. You give them confirmation that they mattered enough to get a reaction out of you. True power comes when you stop playing that game altogether. Detachment works because the ego thrives on evidence. If he can see that you're hurt, if he can tell that you're still thinking about him, he feels relevant. Even if the interaction is negative, he still gets to tell himself he left an impact. But when you show nothing, when you go about your life as if he was never significant, it cuts deeper than any insult ever could. Suddenly, he's left questioning his own importance. Suddenly, the story he told himself about being unforgettable doesn't add up, because the way you've erased him suggests he was never as vital as he believed. And here's what's even more powerful. Detachment is not only about what it does to him, but also about what it does for you. The moment you stop pouring energy into someone who never gave enough in return, you create space for yourself. You create emotional freedom. Instead of wasting hours analyzing his behavior or replaying conversations, you redirect that time and attention into things that build you. Your goals, your passions, your friendships, your peace. That shift doesn't just heal you, it elevates you. And when you elevate yourself, you naturally distance from the chaos he brought, making him irrelevant by default. What most people don't realize is that detachment speaks louder than confrontation. You can sit someone down and explain why they were wrong, why they hurt you, why you deserved more. But in doing so, you're still investing energy in trying to teach them. The act of teaching implies they mattered enough to deserve that lesson. Detachment skips all of that. It says, you no longer qualify for my attention. And that absence of explanation is often the hardest pill to swallow, because it leaves him alone with his thoughts, his mistakes, his regrets. You've given him nothing to hold on to, nothing to argue with, nothing to distort. That's when karma takes over. The ego hates uncertainty. It wants clarity, even if the clarity comes in the form of conflict. By refusing to engage, you create uncertainty in his mind. He wonders if he mattered at all. He questions whether you ever really cared. He replays the times he assumed he was unforgettable and realizes that maybe he wasn't. That doubt eats away at the ego, and it's far more punishing than any angry outburst ever could be. And while he wrestles with that doubt, you're already moving forward, unbothered, proving through your actions that he truly was nothing compared to the life you are building now. The power of detachment is that it's unshakable. It cannot be faked for long, because it only comes when you've truly shifted your focus. And when you reach that point, when you can genuinely live as if he was never significant, you not only take back your power, you also leave him with the weight of his own actions. He doesn't get the validation of knowing he mattered. He doesn't get the comfort of seeing your reaction. All he gets is the silence of your indifference, and in that silence, karma does its work. Silence is often underestimated, but it carries a weight that no words can match. When you refuse to engage, When you cut off the conversations that used to keep him relevant in your life, you create a space that is louder than any argument. Silence is final. It's not open for negotiation. It doesn't give room for him to twist your words, argue his point, or manipulate your emotions. It draws a line in the sand and says, "This is over," and the human ego, especially one that has been fed by your attention, cannot stand that kind of ending. It leaves him restless, unsettled, and hungry for a reaction that never comes. You see, when you try to explain yourself to someone who doesn't value you, you give them more opportunities to dismiss, downplay, or distort your truth. That's why so many people leave conversations feeling unheard, even after pouring out their hearts. But silence doesn't give him that option. It removes the possibility of argument. It's a locked door that can't be forced open. And when you shut that door, karma enters the room in your place. Because silence creates an echo, and in that echo, he's forced to listen to himself, his words, his choices, his behavior, without your responses to cushion the blow. Silence is also powerful because it creates mystery. People who thrive on control hate uncertainty, and silence is uncertainty personified. If you're angry, he knows you still care. If you're hurt, he knows he still has an impact. But if you're silent, he has no idea what's going on inside your mind. He doesn't know if you've forgotten him, if you've moved on, or if you simply no longer care. That not knowing gnaws at the ego because it removes the one thing it craves most: significance. And nothing delivers karma faster than realizing the story he told himself, that he mattered, that he was unforgettable, no longer lines up with your silence. The beauty of silence is that it's not about punishing him. It's about protecting you. It's about refusing to waste another ounce of your energy on someone who already showed you who they are. Silence is the gift you give yourself, because it allows you to conserve your energy for the things that truly matter. Instead of rehearsing speeches in your head or waiting for him to finally understand, you create peace by cutting off the noise. That peace is what heals you, and it's also what haunts him. Because while you find calm in your silence, he finds discomfort in it. Think of silence as the ultimate full stop. In grammar, a full stop ends the sentence. It doesn't leave space for more words. It says, "That's the end of this thought." When you go silent, you're ending the sentence of your relationship. You're refusing to add commas or ellipses that suggest there's more to come. And when he realizes that there's no to be continued, the weight of that ending sinks in. That's when regret begins to brew, because people don't always feel the loss immediately. They feel it when they realize the door is truly closed and can't be reopened. Karma uses silence as its greatest weapon, because while he may try to move on quickly, while he may act unaffected, silence has a way of catching up with people when they least expect it. It lingers, it waits, it hits late at night when there's nothing left to distract him. It resurfaces when he sees you moving on, glowing, and living without him. And in those moments, he'll realize that the silence you gave wasn't emptiness, it was the loudest message of all. It was the message that he no longer mattered, and that realization is what makes his regret inevitable. Every bit of energy you give someone is an investment, and the tragedy is that too often we pour that energy into people who don't deserve it. When you cared for him, when you gave him your time, your attention, your affection, you were investing in his world. You were feeding his confidence, boosting his ego, and giving him a sense of importance. And when he failed to value it, when he took it for granted, he was essentially wasting your most precious resource. But here's the beautiful shift. The moment you stop giving him that energy and start giving it back to yourself, the balance of power changes completely. What once fueled him now fuels you, and that shift becomes the ultimate form of karma. Think about it. While you were busy thinking about him, worrying about him, adjusting your life to accommodate him, he was benefiting from that focus. Even if he wasn't giving much in return, the very fact that your energy revolved around him gave him significance. But when you pull that energy back, when you decide, no, I'm not spending another ounce of myself on someone who doesn't appreciate it, you starve the dynamic that once kept him comfortable. He no longer has the safety net of your attention. He no longer gets to lean on your loyalty, and in that emptiness, regret begins to build because he starts to notice what's missing, you. Redirecting your energy is not about being petty or trying to make him jealous. It's about survival, growth, and empowerment. When you choose to invest that same energy into yourself, your world expands. You start pursuing goals you had put off. You reconnect with passions that had been neglected. You give more time to people who uplift you and love you genuinely. The very energy that was once wasted becomes the fuel that transforms your life. And that transformation is karma at work, because nothing stings more than watching someone you underestimated become unstoppable without you. For him, the absence of your energy is a wake-up call he can't ignore. At first, he may try to replace it, to seek validation elsewhere, to distract himself. But here's the truth. No one else will give him exactly what you gave. Every person's energy is unique, and yours was something he will never find again. He may try to convince himself otherwise, but deep down he'll know the difference. And the more you glow from the energy you now pour into yourself, the clearer it becomes to him that he lost something irreplaceable. That realization is karma's voice whispering, you had it, and you wasted it. On your side, reclaiming your energy builds a confidence that no relationship could ever give you. It's proof that your happiness was never dependent on him. It was dependent on where you chose to place your focus. And when your focus shifts inward, when your energy goes into your growth, your healing, your joy, you begin to radiate in ways that no man can take credit for. That radiance is magnetic. It attracts better people, better opportunities, and better experiences. Meanwhile, he has to live with the knowledge that his role in your story ended right before the most beautiful chapters began. Karma doesn't always show up as punishment, it often shows up as contrast. You flourishing while he struggles to fill the void. You glowing while he replays the moments he took for granted. You happy while he wonders why he didn't value you when he had the chance. That's the real consequence of his actions, and you didn't have to force it. All you had to do was stop feeding him and start feeding yourself. Because when you act like he was nothing and channel all that energy into becoming everything you were meant to be, his regret takes care of itself. That's karma's job, and karma never fails to do it well. Anger is loud, it's fiery, it's dramatic, and it leaves no doubt that the other person had an impact on you. When you lash out, when you argue, when you let rage spill over, you're still tethered to him emotionally. You're still showing that he mattered enough to provoke such intensity from you. And that's the trap, because even in anger, you give him proof that he occupied space in your heart. Indifference, on the other hand, is quiet. It's calm, it's effortless, and it's far more devastating to someone's ego because it communicates a truth they can't argue with. You don't care. Indifference is the sharpest form of closure you'll ever give. When you refuse to react, when you stop explaining yourself, when you don't chase or confront, you cut the line that kept him tethered to your energy. It's not about pretending or playing a game. It's about genuinely reaching a place where his actions no longer shake you. He can try to provoke you, he can test you, he can hope for a rise out of you, but nothing lands. That blankness is a mirror, and in that mirror he sees himself without the validation he once depended on. And that's when the ego begins to crumble. Egos thrive on being fed. His ego may have thrived on knowing you would always respond, always be affected, always show him that he mattered. But when you strip that away, when you meet his noise with silence and his arrogance with neutrality, you take away the very oxygen that ego needs to survive. At first, he may mistake your indifference for a phase. He might tell himself she'll come back, or she's just trying to make a point. But when he realizes your calm isn't an act, it's real detachment, that's when panic sets in, because nothing terrifies an ego more than irrelevance. Indifference has a way of rewiring the power dynamic. Instead of him being at the center of your emotional world, he suddenly finds himself pushed to the edges, almost like a stranger. He might replay moments, try to recall times when he mattered, and wonder how it all slipped away so quickly. He might even attempt to provoke you again, to pull you back into the dance of reaction, because your indifference threatens the very identity he built for himself. But the more indifferent you remain, the more powerless he feels. It's like trying to fight a ghost there's nothing to grab onto. And here's the beauty of it. Indifference isn't about hurting him, it's about healing you. When you reach indifference, it's a sign you've taken back control of your emotions. It means you've stopped giving him the privilege of influencing how you feel. That calm detachment is not only powerful, it's liberating. It frees you from cycles of drama, from the need to prove a point, from the endless loop of highs and lows. It puts you back in charge of your story, while he's left wrestling with the silence you created. That silence becomes karma's stage. He'll sit with the questions, the doubts, the memories, while you move forward untouched. He'll have to come to terms with the fact that he no longer has access to your emotions, and that truth will sting more than any angry words you could ever throw at him. Because anger fades, arguments get forgotten, but indifference lasts, it lingers. It creates a void that he can't fill with excuses or distractions. And in that void, regret grows. So while anger would have given him the satisfaction of knowing he mattered enough to upset you, indifference leaves him with nothing. No validation, no reassurance, no reaction, just the quiet reality that he was nothing to you in the end. And that, more than any dramatic display, is what breaks the ego and delivers the lesson karma intended all along. There is no punishment more powerful than watching someone you once dismissed become everything you never thought they could be without you. Growth has a way of humbling those who underestimated it. When you stop chasing him, when you stop centering your life around his validation, your energy naturally shifts back into your own development. You begin to shine in ways you didn't even realize were possible. That glow, that strength, that new version of you, it becomes his reminder. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because your very existence in this improved state becomes the mirror of his mistake. He might have thought you'd stay stuck, waiting for him, circling around his attention, lingering in the shadow of his choices. That's what people with inflated egos often assume, that you can't thrive without them, that they were the best thing that ever happened to you. But when you rise, when you surpass the version of yourself that he knew, his narrative crumbles. He has to face the truth that you were never dependent on him. You were simply distracted. And when that distraction was removed, your potential could finally breathe. That's the growth that hurts the most for someone who took you for granted. Your growth doesn't have to be dramatic or staged. It can be as simple as the peace on your face, the joy in your voice, the fulfillment in your life. It can be visible in the confidence you now carry, in the opportunities you attract, in the way people respond to you. Growth is undeniable, and when he sees it, it serves as a reminder of what he failed to nurture when he had the chance. The irony is that growth is quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg to be noticed. But it's impossible to ignore, especially for someone who thought you'd never outgrow them. Karma works through contrast, and nothing creates sharper contrast than the image of you thriving while he remains stagnant. Every achievement, every smile, Every new level of happiness highlights the gap between where you are and where he assumed you'd be. That gap is what delivers the sting. Because while he may not admit it out loud, deep down he'll feel it. He lost someone extraordinary, and the proof is in the version of you that emerged after him. It's important to remember that your growth isn't about revenge. It's not about trying to make him see what he missed. It's about reclaiming your own life. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally create consequences for those who wronged you, without ever intending to. That's why karma is so poetic. You don't have to orchestrate his regret. You don't have to send him updates or parade your progress. The universe takes care of that by ensuring that, at some point, he will cross paths with the reminder through you directly, through mutual connections, or simply through the memory of what he let slip away. And when he does, that reminder won't just sting, it will linger, because regret isn't always instant. Sometimes it's slow, creeping in when he least expects it. It's when he sees you smiling without him, when he hears of your successes, when he realizes that your life became richer the moment he left it. That's when the truth sets in. He didn't just lose you. He lost the chance to be part of the incredible life you built. That's why your growth is more than healing. It's the lesson. You thriving is his punishment without you ever lifting a finger. The glow you carry, the peace you've earned, the happiness you radiate, all of it becomes a constant reminder of his failure to value you. And that's the kind of karma no one can escape. The moment you realize his regret is not your responsibility, you set yourself free. Too often, people stay stuck because they secretly want the other person to feel guilty, to wake up one day and realize what they lost. They replay scenarios in their head, imagining how he might miss them, how he might beg for another chance, how he might finally understand the damage he caused. But that fixation keeps you bound to him, because as long as you are waiting for his regret, you're still giving him the starring role in your story. And the truth is, his regret isn't your job, it's karma's. Your only job is to rise higher, leave better, and let life take care of the rest. The beauty of this shift is that it places all of your energy back where it belongs, on yourself. When you no longer care whether he feels remorse, you stop measuring your progress against his reaction. You stop wondering if he's watching your every move, if he notices your silence, if he regrets letting you go. Instead, you measure your progress by how happy you feel, how at peace you've become, how fully you're living. That's the kind of focus that builds a life so fulfilling that you don't even care whether he regrets or not. And ironically, it's in that detachment that regret often hits him hardest, because it's clear he has no power over you anymore. Regret is his burden to carry, not yours to enforce. If you try to manufacture it, if you bend your life into some performance hoping he notices, you'll only exhaust yourself. You'll be living in response to him instead of living for yourself. But when you let go, when you decide, I don't need him to see me, I only need to see myself, you break the last thread tying you to his opinion. That freedom is priceless, and it's the one thing he can never take from you. Think about how much energy is wasted when you're secretly hoping for him to regret. You might post things online with him in mind, dress a certain way hoping he notices, or make decisions based on how it might affect him. But all of that is still about him, not you. When you drop that weight and decide that none of it matters, your life opens up. You start doing things just because they make you happy, not because they might trigger some feeling in him. And that authenticity not only feels incredible, it also has a way of naturally creating the contrast that makes him realize what he lost. Without you even trying, there's something magnetic about a person who lives like they have nothing to prove. That kind of energy is irresistible because it shows confidence, wholeness, and peace. When he sees that you don't care whether he regrets or not, When he sees that your life is thriving without any attempt to make him notice, that's when the truth hits. That's when karma steps in to do its job, because he's left with the undeniable reality that he no longer matters to you. And yet, you matter to him in ways he can't shake. You see, karma doesn't need your help. Life has a way of circling back and delivering lessons to those who ignored them the first time. It may not happen immediately, and it may not happen in the way you imagined, but it always happens. He will face the emptiness of his choices, whether through loneliness, comparison, or the haunting memory of you. And when that day comes, it won't be because you forced it. It will be because that's how life works. You get back what you give. So stop waiting for his regret. Stop measuring your healing by whether or not he notices. His regret is not your trophy, and it's not your mission. Your life is bigger than that. Your mission is to create a reality so beautiful, so full, so authentic, that his chapter becomes nothing more than a footnote in your story. Let karma handle the rest, because it always does. Your job is to live, his job is to regret. When you act like he was nothing, you take back the very power he thought he owned. You stop wasting energy trying to prove your worth, and you start pouring it into yourself. You stop chasing closure from him and you create closure within you. You stop waiting for his regret, because that's not your job. That's karma's job, and karma always shows up. The best revenge is never revenge at all. It's peace, it's growth. It's living a life that feels so good you forget you ever needed him in the first place. His regret will come, but by the time it does, you won't even care, because you'll be too busy thriving, too busy glowing, too busy living the life he was never capable of giving you. That is your true victory, and that is the lesson karma delivers for you.